Alright, let's go through another example. So we said the area for a square is a squared. So in this case, we are given the area. So first, this is our formula, step 1. Step 2, plug in what you know. A squared equals 40. So this is what we know. So now let's try to work backwards. So we have to try to figure out what squared will get us 40. Well, I know if I square root each side, I can get a by itself. So a is going to be the square root of 40, or 6.32. In this unit, we can use a calculator, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so this example is giving us L. L is the same thing as A, remember, because they're just variables. So the formula we're going to use, again, is A squared. So if A is 3, then we can plug in what we know. 3 squared is equal to A, the area. So the area, after we compute 3 squared, is just 9 feet. Something I forgot to do in the previous problem, I forgot to put my label, centimeters. Make sure we're adding that label. Let's move on to a rectangle. So for the area of a rectangle, if you have a highlighter, I would suggest highlighting these to separate the areas. Get it? The base of the rectangle is always going to be length. And the width of the rectangle is always going to be the width. Or L for length, W for width. So to find the area, we need to multiply the length times the width, or L times W equals area. The area of a rectangle is length times width. So for our steps, we just get to practice the same steps. So number 1, finding our formula, plugging in what we know, then calculating, and arguably another really important step, labeling. Oops. So for the first example, the length is 5 inches and the width is 3 inches. So again, we're saying our formula is this. So I'm gonna plug in what I know. So we said the length is 5 and the width is 3. Now we can calculate. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 inches. Let's move on to the second one. The width is 6 centimeters and the area is 38 centimeters. So again, we're using the same formula, but let's plug in what we know. So if we're using length times width equals area, we are going to plug in what we know. So first we're going to start with the width. The width is 6 centimeters. And then I'm actually going to change the area to 48 centimeters. That must have been a typo. That's okay. So we're changing the area to 48. So then we're still looking for this length piece. So all we have to do is get the length on its own. So we're just dividing both sides by 6 for the length to equal 8. 8 centimeters is the length. Alright, so let's move on to this third example. So this problem is saying the width is 2 feet, the length is 12 feet. What is the area? It's just like these problems, but we're just abbreviating those sides. So let's plug in what we know. We know that the length is, well, let's start with the width. We know that the width is 2 feet, and we know that the length is 12 feet, and we're looking for the area. So 12 times 2 is 24. And then we need that label, 24 feet. Now, let's move on to the area of a trapezoid. So for the area of a trapezoid, the area of a trapezoid is the length of the shortest leg plus the longest leg divided by 2, all multiplied by the height. So let's write that out. So the area of a trapezoid is the short leg plus the long leg divided by 2, all times the height. Sometimes I'll put this in parentheses so I remember that this is all together.